Yo, what's poppin', Low Gang? Today we're going to be doing another commentary video on the second channel. Now, you may be wondering, where's the Zaragoto video? And the answer is, well, you see, every project I do doubles in length somewhere along the line. Or triples, or quadruples, or quintuples. I've had that happen before. So yeah, this one, Alright, so the script was initially 9,900 words. I managed to get it down to 9,600 so far, and I'm still trying to shave out every single word I can, literally going through each sentence and being like that nitpicky bastard who cuts out like every single filler word. Not every single one, but like as much as I can while keeping it not feeling like a robot wrote it. So that's coming. Oh, it's also just harder to edit than I thought it would be. Because right now, because it's mostly live action due to me talking about a light novel, I have to like print out way more than I expected to. Way more than usual, and like do a bunch of real life pictures, and God, I'm gonna have to do face cam for once. That's frightening. Face cam is frightening. I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna have to, because it's a light novel. I want to prove that light novel videos are sustainable on YouTube. That's my goal with this, so yeah, bear with me with that. I don't think it's gonna come out when I wanted it to, but, you know, I'm not gonna promise a release date, but I really want to get it out soon. I don't want it to take forever, man. But that aside, let's talk about the Urusei Yatsura video. Now, this one had the quickest production schedule of any video I have ever done per minute of content. Obviously, well, I guess the second channel now takes that record because these videos take no time at all. But for the main channel, and at the time, this was easily the one that took the cake. It is 17 minutes long, and the production took roughly 6 days. Unless you count watching the anime, because I spent 2 days watching like 8 episodes of content from the anime, because I had already seen 2 for the podcast, and it took 6 days to actually script and edit and record the damn thing. And because of that, it was incredibly hectic. I feel like the biggest problem with the video's production, or rather the biggest flaw with the way I went about it, is because I'm one of those procrastinators. If I don't have to do something now, I will put it off as long as possible. And I'm trying to get better about that for the Zaragoto video. I'm getting over my procrastinating tendencies, but for the Urusei Yatsura video, it had a hard deadline. And so there was a certain point when I couldn't procrastinate anymore. So the first few days of the video were, relatively light on work. I should have been doing more work than I was, but I scripted... God, I forget exactly how many days it took to script. Because the first day so after watching like 6 episodes of the anime, because I only watched 2 the first day, because I guess I just wanted a weekend or something. Procrastination. But, I watched 6 episodes of the anime, had a blast doing so. I loved that shit, and I decided, okay, I'll script the intro of the video tonight, and I spent most of that combing down the intro to the point where it was like as short as it possibly could be, or at least in my mind as short as it possibly could be, and I got that done. It was... At first, the intro was threatening to take up a page, but for once, I cut myself off and was like, I'm not doing that. It's not taking up a page. I do not have... Because that's the thing about the video, is that it was very much limited in how long it could be due to how short the production needed to be. And I guess that does sort of show in the video in a lot of ways in terms of quality, because normally... you look at the Call of the Night video, the Do-It-Yourself video, the Tomozaki video, and soon the Zaragoto video. Those are, like, very coherent in terms of, and also very focused. I guess that's the main thing. They are very focused and try to make points and try really hard to make those points and say things very verbosely and intricately. And you can tell that the scripts have gone through a lot of drafts. The Urusei Yatsura video is a shitpost. For all intents and purposes, I mean, sure, it's a video essay, and it makes coherent points, and I tried to say them as best I can within the time allotted, but because it had to be scripted so quickly, it's more so like a scatter shot, flinging all my thoughts out there, not particularly coherently or complexly, just sort of getting it out there. And there was a little bit of overthinking, because it had to be done so quickly. I couldn't see with stuff like the DIY video, and now the Zaragoto video, like even yesterday for the Zaragoto video, I didn't redraft the entire script because I was like, I want to put some distance between myself and the final part of the video, because the final part of the video is really trying to put vague, complicated thoughts to the surface in a very personal way. And I was like, I want to put as much distance between me and that as I can before eventually going back to it, so I have the freshest perspective I can. That didn't exist for the Urusei Yatsura video. It couldn't exist for the Urusei Yatsura video, and for my type of writing, that is a little bit of a handicap. I did do it as much as possible, but at the same time, it just kinda had to be bam, bam, bam. And because of that, the video obviously had to be very limited in scope. And that's where you get the sort of scatter shot, just throwing thoughts out there that I did in the video. Now, with the editing process, because the script took, a few days, and I was doing less work on it than I should have. I should have scripted it much faster, because I was doing probably 3 hours of work on it per day, approximately, for the first few days. The editing for the Urusei Yatsura video may very well be, I don't think it quite beats out the Call of the Night video in terms of amount edited in a single day, but the first 11 minutes or so of that video were edited, well, not the first 11 minutes, so I edited the first minute and a half of it, well, basically the intro section, in a single day, or no, not in a single day, that's not even, why did I say that? In an evening, after finishing up a bunch of the script and commentating it, I decided, okay, I'm gonna edit it now. And I got 1 minute and 40 seconds done, something like that. Ballpark estimate, obviously, I don't have the Vegas file right now, or the video itself, I'm just sort of spitballing. But after that, I did 11 minutes in a single day. I skipped over a section, because that was a section that I wasn't 100% sure if I wanted, or rather, I skipped over 2 sections. One of them I ended up putting in the final video, the other one I ended up cutting for, well, A, because it was kind of a redundant point, and B, it was too much to put in the video, considering the time I had to make it. And so, I skipped over those 2 sections during the video, and then I got up to the final section where I talk about the finale, and then I wasn't able to edit that, but everything else of the video was edited in a single day, and I remember how insane it was to edit. God, that was peak Japan working hours in my life for once, because I went so insane that day because it needed to get done. If I didn't work a 12-hour day with every other minute of the day just being occasionally going on Discord and then eating and shitting and brushing my teeth and stuff, I probably didn't even shower that day. I just went insane editing, and there were ideas for the visuals that I wanted to do. There's one that I want to do for a future video that I'm not gonna mention, because I want to surprise you and also keep it to myself. It's a really good idea, and I want to do that for a video someday. And I was thinking that I wanted to do it for the Urusei Yatsura one, but it was just oh my god, I don't have the time. But the main thing I did for visuals that was very unique and that really set that video apart from others of its ilk was this was the first time doing it, printing out the characters and putting them on popsicle sticks and moving them around. And you can sort of tell it's the first time because, like, for the DIY video, I had this whole background set up that took me like a couple hours to do, just cutting out strips of paper and putting them on a wall. But for that one, it was just Lum on a plate, and I cut out some flowers, and that was the entire background, and I just filmed it against my bedroom door, and, like, waved the characters on popsicle sticks around. And I did a few other things. I cut out Lum and put her on a Japanese Pokemon card that I own. I drew a mustache on her. I put her on a Game Boy cartridge. I took a picture of Shinobu and taped her to a wall and put her next to the lights in my room and flashed those on her. And the process for it was really funny, because it's sort of the inverse of the DIY video in this regard, where I would just film random shit and then find an excuse to put it in the video. That was my process. Lum with a mustache? Yeah, I just filmed that randomly and then was like, I don't know what to put for this section, so I'll put Lum with a mustache on there. That was the entire process. And it did help with efficiency in that regard, because I could just pop a bunch of different fucking IRL footage stuff and then find a way to put it in. And it was really quick in that regard. There was no going back or like doing it with intentionality. It was just, like I said, very, very scattershot in that regard. The entire video sort of has that aura to it because of the amount of time I needed to make it in. And I did all that. The next day of editing, I finally decided to cut that part. I rewrote and commentated the one section, because the point I was trying to make was that the show feels very chaotic, but, you know, I was sort of A, overthinking it, and B, it's just sort of a vague feeling, and I wanted to just get it out there, but at the same time, I don't know, it's like, it's hard to communicate a vague feeling when you're this pressed for time, but all in all, I think I did a pretty good job with the time I had. And so I did that, and I thought the final day, so I was sort of ahead of schedule, right? And I thought on the final day that I was almost done and that I wouldn't need to take too much time for it. Boy, was I wrong. So I edited the the final two sections of the video as well as the outro, and that was like, it didn't take too awful long. I got it done relatively quickly. And then I rendered it. And I remember watching Shafrilis's, he reviewed all the Disney movies. And I remember watching that as like a victory lap while the video was rendering in the background. But, you know, I checked the render after a while. I think I went on a walk. And then when I came back on the walk, I was like, okay, it should be done rendering by now. It was stuck at like 80%, so I was like, huh, that's strange. Then I rendered it again, and it got stuck on the same percentage. So I went back into the video, and there was this filter, I think it's like it basically turns everything into polka dots, and my Vegas really doesn't like it, and it lags the shit out of it. It's in the Tomozaki video a few times, and I managed to render it that time, but I guess it was just too intensive this time for whatever reason, so I was like, okay, it can't render this, I'm just gonna switch the filter out real quick. So I did that, and I got a successful render. And I checked it, and there were editing errors. You see, the way I did the video, as in, like, I'd skip over sections and then do stuff later on down the line, that required moving a lot of different elements at the same time, you know, pushing them up, pushing them back and forth, and that messed up some of the track motion and a few things. And so at first I thought it was just one error, and so I re-rendered, and then I was thinking about it, Oh, I remember now. So there was this bit at the intro too that I was thinking that I wanted to cut out because I went on a little bit about how most seasons of anime aren't that good. But I was like, I think I exaggerated it a little bit. I think I talked too harshly about it and like exaggerated my true feelings on it to where it reflected how I cynically feel about it versus the actual reality of it. I know this is very vague and sort of esoteric, but I basically said that like every season there's like one or two shows that I actually like. It's like true, but also at the same time there's a lot of decent 6 out of 10 shows that I just don't watch. So I felt like maybe I was exaggerating that a little bit. So I was like, okay, I'll just no, I'll just oh yeah, I also rechecked the shows that came out spring of that year, 2022, and I was like, oh wait, there's more shows here that I actually like than I thought. You know, I forgot about some of the shows that I really, really liked. And so I was like, okay, I'll cut out that section. And then, I stopped the render for that, but then I decided to look over the previous render, if I recall correctly. Or maybe I chose to continue rendering it, but either way, there were a bunch of editing errors, too. And I decided to watch the entire video and go through all the editing errors and fix them because of all the track motion stuff and messing that up and from pushing things together. And so I fixed all those. By that point, it was 2 a.m. Mind you, the video was supposed to come out 10 a.m. the next day. And I was still rendering it. Those are the sorts of things that happen when you're a YouTuber and when you're making things as, close to the deadline as I was. And that's why I really wish I went ham on scripting earlier on and didn't just do like a few hours a day and instead did more stuff earlier on so that I didn't have to pull 2 12-hour days in a row. Well, this was probably even more than 12 hours total if you think about it, going into the night. So what I had to do was hit render, hope there were no editing errors left, go take a nap for 2 hours, wake up, check the video, see if it was good, decide that it was good, upload it, add in all the tags and stuff, take another nap, and it was scheduled for 10:30 or something like that, maybe 11, and wake up 30 minutes before it goes up and prepare everyone for when I'm gonna post it and then start marketing. And that was, I got maybe 4 hours of sleep or something like that. It was it was an interesting time. And I remember I was supposed to have a podcast for, I think, if I recall, Sengatsu no Lion. It might have been the Sengatsu no Lion cast. And I had to postpone that because I hadn't actually seen the show due to all the work I was doing. And because I was tired as shit and could not provide a good commentary. So, yeah, sorry, Neon. All in all, though, it is a very funny story thinking back on it, and it's peak secondhand fun. For the Urusei Yatsura video, it did well, all things considered. My channel was still popping off due to the Call of the Night video at the time. My main goals with the video was just get something out to capitalize on the Call of the Night video's success and show everyone that, hey, I upload different things and a variety of different content. The video did pretty well. The main reason why it didn't do as well as the Call of the Night video, and I was talking with Sputtle about this a while ago, is because it wasn't research-based, it wasn't edutainment. It was more so capitalizing on seasonal relevancy. It wasn't that, evergreen, always watchable thing. It was very much, located on that part of the show's runtime, I guess. And I guess it's just, I don't think it's as good as the Call of the Night video, and it never was going to be, considering A, its topic, and B, the amount of time I had to make it. But You know, it's definitely, when you think about it compared to every other video I've made recently, I think it sort of pales in comparison. The one thing that I think it does have over the Call of the Night video is in terms of personality. It's probably the most personality I've had. Well, maybe the DIY video overtakes it. I'm like chomping at the bit to talk about the DIY video, but you know, it has a lot of personality, and I do like that about it. And I got a very positive comment about my personality in the video and relating it to the Call of the Night video, and like, oh, this video exudes like pure shitpost energy, which I agree with. That's basically the video in a nutshell. But yeah, this was a much shorter commentary than the other ones, befitting of a shorter production schedule. Although it's still 20 fucking minutes, holy shit. Yeah, I wanted it to be way shorter than that. Whatever. Hope you enjoyed this Crunchy Bagels After Dark upload. I do still plan on doing more with the channel. Let's try and hit 1,000 subs on the main channel. Can we do it? I don't know, probably. See ya, dudes.